Hmm. Hmm. What has happened today? I call it the mechanical miracle, where we can actually. I love to save customers money, and this is not so much a how-to video, but maybe a possibly just maybe help you in the world of navigation when it comes to doing certain things. What we found today is epic on this older Mustang. I've got a wonderful customer that I've had for many years, and I originally tore this engine down not because I heard that rumbling sound like in that song with the Copperhead Road, but because it was getting water in the oil. And this is a Mustang with a 3.9 liter motor in it. And a little history about the 3.9 versus the 3.8 and the 4.2. 3.8 and 4.2 were kind of notorious for their uh, catastrophic failures at any given moment. The 3.9 was not. There was a few minor differences in how the engine was assembled and some of the things that they used on the 3.9, which was superior to the 3.8, and the 4.2, which was in the 4.2 in the Ford trucks. I would swap 4.2s out for 3.9s in Ford trucks because you would get a used engine if you got a 4.2. You're liable to have the same catastrophic failure. It's just they're like ticking time bombs when it comes to water in the cylinders, bent connecting rods, and funny noises afterwards. Do your research on that. Now, this Mustang I'm working on. So when I see what happened, I was like, well, maybe it's been run hot at some point in time, and it could have very well possibly be that I'm getting water in the engine due to a possible cylinder head gasket issue. And let me flip the camera around and show you what I ran into and what I found after I worked on this thing for a little bit and figured it out. Okay, moving around, we've got the engine disassembled. So it's got somewhere that's not my smoke detector beeping. It's my alarm system needs a new battery. But let me show you something real quick. So from the beginning, let me show you real quick here. These gaskets, they have they're a plastic base, or housed as plastic housing that the rubber sort of sits in. And that was a little mangled up, but that was probably where when I took it apart, that happened. It wasn't broken away. So I believe when I took the intake off, that little bit happened to it right there. And plus, that's not even a water jacket. That's an intake port, so there's no water there. The water jackets are right here. And I'm like, man, this thing's got a blown intake gasket, because I would have done is I ran the engine, got it warmed up, and pressure checked it, and didn't see any water in the cylinders. However, the engine oil had a lot of water in it. So, yes, I did drain out the water before I started the engine, because I let it sit for a little bit and let the water separate, and then I fired it up and ran it so it wouldn't run water through the engine. Now, so I was like, well, I'm not getting it in the cylinders, but I could tell that something was going somewhere, because the pressure would bleed down, and the water that I recently drained out of the engine, or the coolant out of the engine oil, was back in it again. You could see it. So I said, all right, so let me pull the intake off first, because I knew it had these kind of gaskets. And I couldn't remember, and I can't remember everything, but the way this is set up is, as you can see, there's water jackets here, here, and the same thing on this gasket here and here. And they're down here is a water jacket. There's a water jacket, one at the rear. So I was like, maybe I've got a blown intake gasket and it's just squirting down into the motor. But then once I cut it off, I was like, well, I don't see anything blown here, here, or here, here. And also, the way they've done this here, there's an O-ring that trails along right underneath the water jackets on both sides of this gasket, which then threw me off. I was like, well, even if they were flattened out, it would be getting in, maybe, if they're flattened out, it would, the way it was still could get in the oil, because it would have to trail along and come out and go around each corner of the intake. It would be so I'm like, well, maybe there's a blown in timing cover gasket, because the way that they do this is you got a gasket that surrounds this area here, and if something happens right here in this area, you could get coolant into the oil. And so I removed it, and the way they do this, I'll show you on the old gaskets where I can't reach it and I'm not digging it out. Maybe I'll try to dig it out. I pulled this off. Let me get down here. Okay. Well, I did the damage to the gasket removing it, because once I did, I was like, wow, this thing's got a metal base to it. It's a metal gasket with a coating on it, which makes it a lot stronger than the old style paper gaskets that would normally be there, that you would see that happen to. So I didn't see any sign of that on either port. I'm like, wow, that looks really, really, really good to have this many miles on it. So I'm at a loss. I was like, well, it's got to be just leaking from the head where it's there and into the lifter valley. And so I priced an engine to the customer. And he was about to pull the trigger on this old car is not in the best of shape, but he really likes this old car. He bought it for his daughter. I think just as this car was several years old, she was quite young. It was her first car, and she's kept it running. You know, it needs a paint job, but the inside is really nice. And they were just partial to this vehicle, so they're about to pull the trigger on the engine. So let me walk through here. We're gonna walk through the shop up our little ramp into the other side over here. We've got a really nice Crown Victoria that we're working on repairing, a bunch of water leaks and some maintenance that needed to be done. I replaced an AC clutch bearing and water pump, all the hoses, and I had to wait on some parts, so that's another video. This is where the meat and potatoes comes in. So I've got the timing cover on the bench, and he said, well, you know, we're going to put an engine in it. And so I was just cleaning this up, kind of just waiting on some parts to come in. I was in between some stuff, knowing that we're going to do something with this, and I got this thing flipped over here, and as I was wire wheeling some of this gasket off, I took the air hose and blew this away. Luckily, I haven't bought the engine yet. I was just sort of killing a little time, waiting on some parts. I look down here, and right there, let me pick this up. See that? Right there. This aluminum had eroded away. And if you look on the other side, once I looked a little more carefully, this is how sometimes you can overlook things. You can actually see where it was clean. And I guarantee you that this aluminum is seepy, even not right there at that hole, because when it gets pitted out like that, it becomes porous. And this is an open area for oil, for the timing chain. So water would, get right through that, go right through that little hole right there. And it's water just sitting right there the whole time, right into the oil. There it would go, which would explain why I seen such a significant leak on my gauge. And I really didn't even see it till I took the air hose and was blowing, cleaning off all the stuff and blowing it off, and some of that corrosion came off, and bloop, there it was. And it made that sound too. Bloop. What a very interesting and awesome find, which is significantly cheaper than the engine. And so what we're going to do now is, let me flip the camera back around. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I've ordered a timing cover for this thing. It won't be until several days from now. You watch this video, I don't know what the timeline will be, but I'll get a new timing cover for it, which has actually got the oil pump incorporated. Oil pump is incorporated into this timing cover. So that's actually part of the deal. There's an O-ring that seals that off so that you can, if you have a really bad oil leak on the front of the engine, it's more than likely it's that O-ring. But anyways, I pretty much just wanted to share the success story and how we're going to save this customer a lot of money, do honest repair work, and just maybe guide you along the way if you're working on any vehicle. Sometimes it pays to take a second look before you call it quits. Take your time. Walk away from something. Don't get frustrated and keep doing it. If you, like, say for instance, if you're trying to install a part and it's not going on and you're getting frustrated, and your main instinct is just to keep pushing forward, just keep trying. I can't get this thing to line up, and you're forcing it. Take a break. Go do something else for a little bit. And then clear your mind and come back to it, and use patience. You'll be surprised the success that you'll get out of that aspect alone. And life in general it can carry you through life and relationships. If you're with a significant other and you're having an argument and you keep arguing, walk away. Take some time to cool off. Approach it at a different mindset, and you will be greatly, greatly rewarded with the benefits of having a more successful life. Same thing. So mechanic and life just go hand in hand. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. This is just a little bit of a sort of a vlog, and I'm just so excited that we're able to save this customer money. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and if you like what we do and our little short repair how-tos, hit that like and subscribe and share this out to all your peoples. Thank you. Take it easy.